Whoever you are, whomever you love, you are welcome here. However you express your identity, whatever your situation in life, whatever your experience of the holy, your presence here is a gift. Whether you are filled with sadness, overflowing with joy, needing to be alone with yourself, or eager to engage with others, you have a place here. Whether you are young or old, you are welcome here. You who are online today, we welcome you. We greet all those who join us this morning, those in our sanctuary, and all of our many online viewers, así como el creciente número de participantes bilingües que nos acompañan desde sus hogares. Today is a special multi-generational service, which means our children will be staying with us for the whole time. We're happy to have all of us here together. Welcome one and all.
I invite you to take your gray hymnals and open to number 347. When you have found it, please rise in body or in spirit as we join together in song.
We celebrate Earth Day. Like so many days we deem significant, it holds both joy and sorrow. Earth Day was first celebrated 53 years ago, back in 1970, as a day to honor our Earth and our natural environment. Since then, much has changed. But then again, there is much that has not changed. Despite our growing environmental awareness of the climate crisis and the negative effects that our industrialized society has on our planet, we continue to march ahead with the degradation of the environment. But although recent reports indicate a potentially bleak future for humanity, despair is not the only option. We still have choices. We can choose to see one another as allies and siblings rather than as bickering adversaries. We can choose to see each other as ourselves as citizens of the earth rather than consumers. We can choose to be grateful to our Mother Earth rather than entitled to her gifts. May it be so, and come, friends, let us worship together.
We light our chalice this morning in honor of our Mother Earth. She gives us many gifts, including storing energy and providing us this flame.
The wisdom of the great chief Seattle reminds us, all things are connected. Whatever befalls the earth befalls the children of the earth.
All things share the same breath, the beast, the tree, the man. The air shares its spirit with all the life it supports.
We did not weave the web of life. We are merely a strand in it. Whatever we do to the web, we do to ourselves. This we know.
All things are connected. All living things share the same breath. All things are connected. The air shares its spirit with all life. All things are connected, just like the blood which unites us all. All things are connected. Whatever befalls the earth befalls the children of the earth.
Treat the earth well. It was not given to you by your parents. It was loaned to you by your children. We do not inherit the earth from our ancestors. We borrow it from our children.
Let it speak to the fragrance of a flower and the freshness of the grass. Music of the sea. Let it speak to through hills and mountains, thundering skies and the rhythm of life. All things are connected, just like the blood which unites us all. All things are connected. Whatever befalls the earth befalls the children of the earth. All things are connected. All things are connected. All things.
Only after the last tree has been cut down, only after the last river has been poisoned, only after the last fish has been caught, only then will we find money cannot be eaten.
All
Please join me in reading our congregational covenant, which you will find on the back of your order of service. Love is the spirit of our congregation. Service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek truth in love, and to encourage one another. Thus do we covenant.
The First Unitarian Universalist Church of Houston has been a beacon of inclusive religion since 1914, and the faith of our members continues to grow.
Unitarian Universalists are curious, lifelong learners of all ages, and as we learn, our beliefs change, our knowledge expands, and our faith grows.
Our spiritual community is moving into the future with a new vision, mission, and covenant to focus our hopes and intention. The vision of our community is widening love's circle. We widen the circle by providing a spiritual home for people with diverse theologies, including theists, atheists, pagans, liberal Christians, Jews, Muslims, and many others.
We're not only diverse theologically, we have programs for children, youth, and all ages.
We also widen the circle through our social justice and community service work.
Bob Shibley, a longtime minister, created Sanctuary for Political Refugees decades ago, and we continue to work for immigrants' rights to this day. He was the first openly gay minister in a predominantly non-LGBTQ congregation in the city. We continue the battle for those rights, both here and in Austin.
We embrace our racially and economically diverse neighborhood and learn from and advocate for those we refuse to banish to the outside of love's circle.
We offer several Spanish language services throughout the church year, and all of our Sunday services feature elements in Spanish.
Our spiritual community widens the circle to include all those who covenant with us to agree how we will treat each other and the world. We do not all hold the same religious beliefs. We do not have a creed. Instead, each week in our services, we covenant together.
Love is the spirit of our congregation. Service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek truth in love, and to encourage one another. Thus do we covenant.
Our church's newly adopted mission statement makes explicit our intentions going into the next chapter of our story.
Located in Houston's Museum District, the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Houston commits to being a growing multicultural, multi-generational, and multiracial congregation in the city's diverse urban center.
We widen love's circle by honoring the inherent worth and dignity of all, advancing justice and religious pluralism, and inspiring an ever-deepening spirituality.
In the coming years, we shall serve as a pillared congregation for Houstonians of many faiths and build the beloved community by
providing religious leadership and collective action devoted to ecological, social, and racial justice,
increasing the opportunities for transformative spiritual growth for members and seekers,
serving as responsible stewards through a commitment of our time, talent, and treasure,
and expanding and deepening our intergenerational community.
To help us become that pillar congregation for Houstonians, and to help us build the beloved community, we are asking those who join us on Sundays, either online or in person, to help us widen love's circle.
Our members and friends have received pledge cards in the mail. We hope you will return those completed pledge cards promptly.
Because our in-person Sunday services are live-streamed, people from around the world with internet access watch our services.
If you enjoy our services online, even if you've never been here in person, consider making a pledge. Scan this QR code to make your pledge to support the work of our church. Or you can simply make a financial contribution by texting FIRSTUU to 73256.
The First Unitarian Universalist Church of Houston has a proud legacy, and our vision, mission, and covenant ensure an exciting future. Join us in widening love's circle.
Once upon a time, there was a planet Earth. Earth got sick. There were a lot of reasons why. You, out there, may know some of the reasons. If you think of a reason, lean over and tell someone sitting next to you. So anyway, Earth got sick. A person came along and said,
"The Earth is sick. Let's go to Mars."
Mars did not like this idea. Mars said,
"The Earth gave you plants to eat, water to drink. She gave you an atmosphere, air to breathe, and friends to befriend, or animals to befriend. Do you really think I'm gonna let you come here and ruin me too, after ruining a planet like Earth? I don't think so. I think we're going to have to come up with some better ideas."
And so they did. Today's service may inspire you to new ideas that you share with your friends and family and shall cross the rivers and oceans and act on your own life. We hope so.
Our high school youth are doing a great job. At this time, I'd like to invite all of the children and all those who like to play to find some Play-Doh that may be in the center of the pew, and we have some more up here if you need some. Also, you might help anybody who wants to find the Play-Doh to get it. I'm inviting you during this next part of the service to listen to hear a name of an animal or plant that you would like to create with your Play-Doh. And you may like to create an animal or plant that is special to you. Later in the service, we will invite you to take your sculpture to the back table so that others can enjoy it as they leave the service today. Anyone need Play-Doh that doesn't have one? Raise your hand and we can get some to you. There's someone over here who needs Play-Doh. Could someone help? Great. And now for a prayer.
Please join me in the spirit that some call prayer and others name meditation. Open yourself to the wonders and mysteries of the world. Open yourself to compassion and empathy. Take one breath. Take another. Find your center. Spirit of life that some name God and others call the highest in human aspiration, be with us in this hour as we worship together. This week we have seen two holidays, two holy days. Eid al-Fitr, celebrating the end of Ramadan, calling for acts of charity and the breaking of the fast. Earth Day, a secular day meant to inspire a reconnection and recommitment to that holy thing of which we are a part, on which we are all dependent, this muddy blue-green ball of a planet we call home. Service to each other, service to the all of being, the ecosystems of which we are a part. We lift up these intentions, these sacred calls to action this spring morning, and ask, O Spirit of life, that you move within us, that you move through us, so that we might each do our part to do what must be done, works of mercy, the binding up of the broken, the building of collective power to address the climate crisis. That it might be so, I invite the congregation to say, Amen. We pause now together to lift up that which sits heavy and light on our hearts and turn to a practice inspired by African, indigenous, and neo-pagan traditions. We say aloud or bring to mind those we wish to have held in the loving embrace of this community. We hear these names in this great cloud of witness and among this beloved community. As we hear them, let us also extend our empathy and compassion to all the suffering that has not been named and share in the joy that remains unspoken. Pause now in awe and wonder of the mystery that is life, in the spirit of love, in the spirit of hope, and in the spirit of compassion. I invite you to enter into a time of silent meditation, reflection, or prayer. Each week, our morning offering is shared with an organization which shares our Unitarian Universalist values, and through which we may live out our principles. Today, our shared offering supports the Houston Climate Justice Museum and Cultural Center. The center was created with the belief that museums, both those dedicated to art and those dedicated to science, too often ignore environmental justice issues and the climate crisis. It was the belief of the museum's founders that most museums perpetuate cultural versions of nature that are tied to upper class values and dubious racial theories. So the Houston Climate Justice Museum came up with the idea that if we want to tackle the environmental crisis, we have to change the way that museums operate, then that they have to be more experimental, more creative, and open-ended when tackling justice issues. Those in our sanctuaries will find instructions for text giving in your order of service. Those watching online will find them on the screen. Our regular Sunday morning offering invites us to weave a tapestry of love and action. And so in that spirit, offering will now be gratefully accepted. please join with me in reading the words to dedicate our offering found on your laminated pew card. To the work of this church, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action, we dedicate our lives, and these are our offerings.
Our responsive reading, which you will find in your order of service, comes from the current draft of Article 2, Values and Covenants, recently proposed by the Unitarian Universalist Association. We focus on 2 of the 6 shared values we feel are most relevant to today's service: interdependence and transformation. And now please read with me responsively. We cherish Earth and all beings by creating nurturing relationships of care and respect.
With humility and reverence, we acknowledge our place in the great web of life, and we work to repair harm and damaged relationships.
This we covenant. We collectively transform and grow spiritually and ethically.
Openness to change is fundamental to our Unitarian and Universalist heritage. Never complete and never perfect. We pledge to adapt to a changing world.
This we covenant.
Our second reading is When I Dream of a Planet in Recovery by Derek Jensen. In the time after, the buffalo come home, at first only a few, shaking snow off their shoulders as they pass from mountain to plain. Big bulls sweep away snowpack from the soft grass beneath. Big cows attend and to protect their young. The young themselves delight, like the young everywhere, in the newness of everything they see, smell, taste, touch, and feel.
Wolves follow the buffalo, as do mallards, gadwalls, blue-winged teal, northern shovelers, northern pit-tails, redheads, canvasbacks, and tundra swans. Prairie dogs come home, bringing with them the rain, and bringing with them ferrets, foxes, hawks, eagles, snakes, and badgers. With all of these come meadowlarks and red-winged blackbirds. With all of these come the tall and the short grasses. With these come the prairies.
In the time after, the salmon come home, swimming over broken dams to forests who have never forgotten the feeling of millions of fish turning the rivers black and roiling, filling the rivers so full that sunlight does not reach the bottom of even shallow streams. In the time after, the forests remember a feeling they've never forgotten, of embracing these fish that are much a part of these forests, as are the cedars and spruce, and bobcats and bears.
In the time after, the beavers come home, bringing with them the caddisflies and dragonflies, bringing with them ponds and pools and wetlands, bringing home frogs, newts, and fish. Beavers build and restore, working hard to unmake the damage that was done, and to remake forests and rivers and streams and marshes into who they once were, into who they need to be, into who they will be again.
In the time after, plants save the world. In the time after, the oceans are filled with fish, with forests of kelp and communities of coral. In the time after, the air is full with the steamy breath of whales, and the shores are laden with the hard shells and patient, ageless eyes of sea turtles. Seals haul out on sea ice, and polar bears hunt them.
In the time after, buffalo bring back prairies by being buffalo, and prairies bring back buffalo by being prairies. Salmon bring back forests by being salmon, and forests bring back salmon by being forests. Cell by cell, leaf by leaf, limb by limb, prairie and forest and marsh and ocean. They bring the carbon home, burying it in the ground, holding it in their bodies. They do what they have done before and what they will do again.
The time after is a time of magic. Not the magic of parlor tricks, not the magic of smoke and mirrors. Distractions that point one's attention away from the real action. No, this magic is the real action. This magic is embodied intelligence of the world and its members. This magic is the rough skin of sharks, which without they would not swim so fast, so powerfully. This magic is the long tongues of butterflies and the flowers who welcome them. This magic is the brilliance of fruits and berries who grow up to be eaten by those who then distribute their seeds along with the nutrients necessary for new growth. This magic is the work of fungi who join trees and mammals and bacteria to create a forest. This magic is the billions of beings in a handful of soil. This magic is the billions of beings who live inside you, who make it possible for you to live.
In the time before, the world was resilient, beautiful, and strong. It happened through the magic of blood flowing through capillaries and the magic of tiny seeds turning into giant redwoods, and the magic of long relationships between rivers and mountains, the magic of complex dances between all members of the natural communities. It took life and death and the gifts of the dead forfeit to the living to make the world strong.
In the time after, this is understood. In the time after, there is sorrow for those who did not make it. Passenger pigeons, great auks, dodos, striped rock snails, Charles Island tortoises, stellar sea cows, Darling Downs hopping mice, Guam flying foxes, Saudi gazelle, sea mink, Caspian tigers, quaggas, laughing owls, St. Helena's olives, Cape Verde giant skinks, silver trout, Galapagos armadillos.
But in those humans and non-humans who survive, there is another feeling, emerging from below and beyond and around and through this sorrow. In the time after, those still alive begin to feel something almost none have felt before, something that everyone felt long, long ago. With those who come in time, the time after, feel is a sense of realistic optimism, a sense that things will turn out all right, a sense that life, which so desperately wants to continue, will thrive.
We, living now in the time before, have choices. We can remember what it is to be animals on this planet and remember and understand what it is to live and die such that our lives and deaths help make the world stronger. We can live and die such that we make possible a time after where life flourishes, where buffalo can come home, and the same for salmon and prairie dogs and prairies and forests and carbon and rivers and mountains.
And now I invite you to open your teal hymnals to number 1064. 1064. When you have found it, please rise in body or in spirit and join together as we sing.
Still I tried and tried
Some of us gathered here today may be relieved to hear Derek Jensen's description of the time after. Some of us may be focusing on what he said about the possible shifts we can still make to keep the world as we know it. Some of us may be feeling great sadness about all we cannot control and the loss that is happening, the likely suffering of humans and other animals on our beloved planet. I feel all of these things. As an activist for the environmental concerns for 8 years, I've gone through many stages and transitions. And where I am right now holds these truths in balance. One truth: I cannot control what others do. I have influence, but my influence is limited, mostly to those with whom I have a relationship. Those relationships include deep caring and a sense of belonging together, like we have in this community. When someone in this community invites me to participate in something that fits with my values, I am called to say yes as often as I can. A second truth: technology alone won't bring us what we need. For one, technology continues to dig into the Earth's limited resources, and it doesn't involve a collaboration and relationship between people and animals to create the world we want to live in. This idea about Mars moving to a different planet feels like a crazy, desperate scheme to me. Moving towards sustainability, resilience, along with humility and reverence, are the steps I will make and champion as we go forward. Another truth I want to share: I know we've been bamboozled by corporations and people in power to think that saving the planet is the responsibility of individual citizens, rather than that of corporations or governments. Full-on campaigns have been created to fool us. One of our youth brought this up in our discussions to create this service. The writer Derek Jensen, whose essay, When I Dream of a Planet in Recovery, that we just heard, wrote another essay called Forget Shorter Showers. In that, he argues that the individual citizens' change of habits won't be nearly enough. And it says that it's the wrong place to put our efforts. While he is not wrong that corporations and leaders and laws would make a much larger difference, I believe that individual change is important anyway. And here's a few reasons why I think so. First, we are role models in the places that we have relationships and influence. A very small example: when I bring my to-go container to a restaurant, others see me, especially those who join me at the table, and they can be changed by the experience. But it is amazing that it takes a bit of self-confidence to do something as small as bringing a different container to the restaurant. The cultural pieces are strong. But seeing someone you trust and admire and even love do so makes it easier to do. In fact, I got the idea of having that container in my car from someone right here in this congregation. Second, when we make a personal change, we are more likely to fully support those particular changes on a larger scale and make choices to make them happen through economic and political change. For example, if I have chosen to be vegetarian or vegan, I will be more likely to support the government reducing their subsidies for the beef or dairy industry. Third, and maybe most important, actually I would say most important to me, is that making moral choices affects us as individuals and our community. If I know that my actions create suffering for an animal, or make another person's life harder or less healthy, or create filth and sickness for our planet, I can choose not to do so because that's the choice that's consistent with my morals. Making these choices out of kindness and care makes for a more loving, healthy community. And it feels right in a life that fits with our values. It's not easy at all. I struggle all the time because we are constantly bombarded with messages that cut us off from knowing or thinking about the pain we cause as animals, to animals, forests, and our other fellow humans. But if when we find out, we stay aware and act accordingly, we can change our corner of the world. And I want to end with an idea that blends our very human need for self-care with our connections to the earth. It is a practice of gratitude that focuses on the beauty of nature. I invite you to join me in the next week or maybe months in creating a daily practice of gratitude about something you love in nature. And if you live by a calendar, you could write it in there. Or if you have a morning routine of drinking coffee, you could pair this with your morning coffee. Or the evening routine of eating together with your family, you might ask each person to share a gratitude about nature at your family table. Each day, you could be grateful for the trees, or the moon, or rivers, and each day you could give a new reason why. This may lead you to get to know the trees in your yard better, or maybe it will cause you to go out every night to see if the moon is visible and to watch how it changes over the course of the month. Or each day, you can find a different aspect of nature to offer your thanks. These practices provide self-care and make us feel grounded. They may create a call to bigger activism or shifts in our habits, or they may simply connect us to our true nature as animals, whose home, the earth, is where we have been given life. The connection is there. When we feel it, we feel more alive and where we long to be. There's so much to distract us from our true nature. There's so much that's been invented to push us into thinking about buying, and focusing on actions that bring wealth, and thinking in actions that have no sacred or spiritual purpose, and that don't serve our well-being. They are hurting our home, the earth, and I invite us to let go of the distractions this week and focus on gratitude and the beauty of the earth. Everywhere it shows us, whenever we pay attention, may it be so. As we begin the instrumental introduction to our final hymn, all those who created a Play-Doh sculpture are invited to take your creation to the back table and then return to your pew to join in singing with us.
Notice in your bulletin, your order of service, the first line or two is missing. So just Carol and I will sing, and you just join in when you see the words kind of line up. Thank you. Please rise in body or spirit.
Please join me in reading the words to extinguish our chalice, found in the laminated hymnal card. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we
Okay, this is a poem that I wrote for Earth Day. Okay. Here we have the Earth, the third planet from the sun. This is our home. It is our only one. The Earth changes every day, everywhere, all the time. Humans have an influence. They make mistakes sometimes. We use carbon dioxide, but it pollutes the air. It affects our life. I think we should be aware. If there's too much carbon, it would be terrible. It would lead to natural disasters. It would be unbearable. There are more natural disasters because of the heat. It affects the water cycle, which repeats and repeats. The sun is the reason for evaporation. Water becomes clouds and precipitation. There will be more evaporation now. There will have more water contained. Once there's plenty of clouds, all that water will turn into rain. If there's too many clouds, there will be more thunderstorms. This is the reason why we don't want the globe to warm. There is something that will be even worse. Ice caps at the poles will start to melt. Then all the tides will start to rise. This is why climate change has to be dealt. Thank you.
Go in peace, go in love, may our lives be a blessing, and let the congregation say, Amen. Thank you so much for watching our service today. We're glad you're part of our online community, where we welcome people who are diverse in faith, ethnicity, history, as well as gender identity and sexual orientation. There are many different ways you can get involved in our community. One you can do right now is by clicking like below or subscribing to our channel. If you're interested in joining our congregation, please email us at membership@firstuu.org. Thanks so much for joining us.